Hi, welcome to the next video in this series on Introduction to SAS9 Programming. Previously, we talked about ways to read external input files and create SAS datasets. In this video, we'll talk about temporary SAS datasets versus permanent SAS datasets. The datasets we created in the previous examples were all stored in the work library. How did that happen? After all, we did not specify work library anywhere when we created the datasets. For example, we did data followed by the dataset name city temps, data followed by cricket average, the dataset name cricket averages, and the third dataset was batsman long name. This is because SAS stores data in the work library when you don't explicitly state where you want to save the dataset. SAS creates the work library during startup, and this location is configured in the SAS v9.cfg. If you have access to that location, an administrator who typically has access can go and change the location if required, or a user who can start up SAS using the SAS executable can pass the optional dash work invocation parameter and provide a different path for work library. However, once you've started the SAS session, the work library cannot be changed for that session. Here's a fun fact. If the path that you provided for your work library is full, if the disk space for that path is full, then SAS might not start properly, or in some cases it might not start at all. And what's the deal about work library? The thing about work library is the contents of the work library are deleted at the end of the session by SAS. So if you want to carry your data sets from one session to the next, work library is not the place where you want to store it. So here's a screenshot of the work library that that we did from the previous session where we created all these different data sets, and this is where it went and got saved in the work library. Okay, so what if I want to carry my data sets from one session to another? Then I need to save the data set in a permanent library. Using to save the data set in a permanent library, I must define that permanent location and tell SAS where it is using the Libname statement. And then to reference the permanent location that we have created, we use something called as a libref. For example, here I'm using the Libname statement, and then I'm providing my path followed by the path that it's referencing. Unfortunately, I've used the same names here, so don't get confused. This C colon / path, my path is the location on the drive, and this my path is a reference. It's a libref to this path. Okay. And to store the dataset in this location instead of the work location, you have to qualify the dataset using this libref, myPath. And how is it done? You say data myPath, which is your libref, dot myDS, which is the dataset that I want to create. So when I do that, the permanent datasets remain even after I close the session. And when I come back into SAS again, I can issue this Libname statement, create a library for that, and I should be able to go there and see this data set. And there are some useful permanent libraries that are provided by SAS as well. And in these libraries, so the one that I use a lot is SAS help. There are lots of data sets that I use for creating demos. If I want to test something out, I would go there and I would use those data sets and run, for example, a code against it to see what happens, right? So it's a good data set. It can be a playpen data set as well. And here is the SAS help library and some of its contents, and we'll take a look at it when we go to the demo in just 1 second. I'm just switching the screen here to the yeah, so here we have a demo. In this This data step should be familiar to you from the last session that we did. I'm just creating a data set called city temps, and it's reading input from the data lines, which is the city and the temp. So let's run this. So yeah, it ran without errors and it created the data set. Then I go to the log and notice that in here I said data city temps, whereas in the notes it says the dataset work.citytemps has 5 observations and 2 variables. So this is the default nature of SAS. If I don't qualify my dataset with a libref, it's going to put it in work, and that's what it did. And here I have the Libname statement for that. This is my Libname keyword followed by the libref. The libref cannot be longer than 8 characters, and it has to follow SAS naming conventions, meaning it has to start with an underscore or an alphabet or a character. Then it can contain underscores, characters, and numeric values. So that's the SAS convention. But the one additional thing to remember is it cannot be longer than 8 characters long for the libref. Followed by the path in quotes, single or double quotes are both fine. So then that once I define that, I take the SAS data and then I qualify my data set using SAS data dot. So now it's going to get created in the SAS data library. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so in the log, it now says that it's created, the data set has been created in as SAS data dot citytemps. And as you can see here, this is actually the path. There is a that's being displayed here. This is not the library, it's the path. And now you can see that there is actually a file that's here called citytemps.sas7b. And if I want to take a look at the libraries themselves, the 2 libraries that we are talking about so far, you can go to the library option here and click on and expand that. Now you see the work library, the first data step that we ran, we didn't qualify it, so it got saved in the work library as city temps. And the second time we ran it, we said put it in the SAS data library. So here again it's there. And then remember I told you there are other libraries as well that are created by SAS. These are the maps and the map SAS and the SAS help. These map libraries are used a lot when you want to do map charting of on maps. Choropleths is what they're called. Um, and then the SAS help library has some useful stuff. So you have some baseball data set. If you want to run some data against it, this cars data set is very popular. This class is a very small data set, but you can you can use these to practice your stuff. So copy these data sets to work library, and then you can run your code against it, see if it works or not. So with that, that's the end of the topic that I wanted to cover for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.